We are now looking at chapter 16. These are seglet nouns, this time with gutturals. So overall concept is going to be very similar to chapter 15 that we just looked at. However, this time, when we get to the end of the word, of having written it out, what we're going to find is that this R2 guttural, not only has it affected the original form of the word, so now instead of something like ne'er with seglets, we get na'ar. That's kind of the nature of gutturals, prefer patachs under them and before them. Notice in this one with the R3 guttural, we get the patach under the tzade. We don't have a vowel under the het, so it's not like we have a vowel under and before, but we do get it before. So instead of netzik, we get netzach, okay? And then we have na'ar, and then poal is a little different too. You can notice both netzich and poal have long vowels in the R1, and that's going to be pretty standard there. Again, we're looking at proper protoforms. The plurals will affect the protoform, whether we use the Devar pattern or the seglet pattern. But the trick on these, you'll notice, is that oftentimes when we get a silent schwa at the end, so this word would normally look something like this if we were just going to finish it out. If we did the rules, everything normal with no guttural, this is what the word would look like. However, with a silent letter especially, and then gutturals also in particular, and a silent schwa, we would really be left with nothing on that R2 position. So what ends up happening is at the very end, this silent schwa will flip to a composite vocal, like you can see right there. And so what we end up with then is na'ari. Oops. Well, I guess I'll just delete all of this. There we go. Okay, so na'ari is what we end up with there. And you'll see that all the way down in this paradigm, except for places where we also have a schwa in the ending. And the reason for that is because those two schwas have fought. So you could argue here that this one has, that this schwa under the ayin did flip like the rest of them. However, once it flipped, and then once the schwa flipped, then it had a fight with that R3 vocal schwa, and the first one became a short vowel. So couple of little things you're going to have to keep in mind on this chapter at the end of a word, and those will help you figure these out. So let's look at a few of these. Notice these O-class vowels too also do some odd things. The main thing you're looking at here with the O-class is that you're getting the metheg beside of the T symbol. Sorry, my stylus is not hitting it directly. There, you're getting the little metheg beside of the T symbol all the way down through there. So keep that in mind, and let's look at a couple of examples here then. First one we're going to do is a masculine plural construct of na'ar. Notice again that I'm choosing plurals so that we can decide which proto pattern that we want to use. In this case, on the plural construct, we're going to use the seglet pattern. So we just write this out, and I've already messed it up. How about that? This is our seglet pattern here. This is an A class, so we have nar. And then next step, we're going to add our box. In this case, the masculine plural construct is the sere yod. Keep everything else the same, and I think you guys can see how this one is going to end up. Looks great there. Divides syllables, closed unaccented, requires a short vowel in this syllable. And indeed, that's what we get. Here is the catch. Now, if you want to label this a step 4, you can, or if you just want to fix it, you can do that too. but what we get is this vocal schwa. Okay, so the silent schwa that we have there does flip to the vocal. So keep that in mind, and that is your answer, not array. So that would be the masculine plural construct of na'ar. Let's look at another one here. Again, we have a plural construct, so this one also is going to be the seglet pattern. In the O-class seglets, what we end up getting is actually a kametz hatuf, okay? And so that's what we're looking at there. And our continued proto-pattern would be here with the plural seglets. In the construct, yes. And so next, what we're going to get is keep the vowels the same. Remember, this is not a long kametz. That's a kametz hatuf. Our plural construct box is here. Accent has shifted to the next word. Step 3, keep right on going. Makef. And then again, we end up with a closed unaccented syllable requires a short vowel. So let's do that with it. Here you go. Now we're back to that ayin with a silent schwa. This time in the O-class seglets, this little guy is going to flip to a vocal, but he's going to flip to a vocal schwa in the O-class. And so it's going to be a hatif kametz hatuf in that case. And so then the next thing we need to do in this case is add the metheg. And this is the one that I mentioned to you to keep an eye on. If you remember in chapter 5, one of the things that I mentioned to you about the metheg was that it indicates something about the schwa, not something about the kametz or kametz hatuf. Okay, so what we get here is the metheg is indicating that this is a vocal schwa, just like it always has, but it's not indicating that this is a kametz. So we do indeed here have po-ole. One of the examples we had was this one in chapter 5. We had this word with the metheg, and we had this word without the metheg, okay? And what we told you was that the metheg said this was a vocal schwa. If that's a vocal schwa, we divide the syllable here. This is now open, so that's a kametz. This word is katala. In this case, no metheg, we can assume this is a silent schwa, closes the syllable, closed unaccented requires short. This word is kotla, okay? So there's the metheg schwa issue. Let me erase some of this and kind of make room for getting the mess out of the page. So that's the metheg vocal schwa issue. Therefore, in this word right here that we just finished with, that metheg is telling us that this is a vocal schwa, but we do still have a kametz hatuf right here. For this week's devotion, I actually gave you the word Naomi. Looks like this. This is actually Naomi, the name Naomi, but we've misread this as an A. It's Naomi. That metheg tells us this is a vocal schwa, which we know, but nonetheless, there it is consistently. And then this would be a kametz hatuf, a standard O-class seglet. So anyway, there's a fun one. I believe that's all that I want to say on that one. Watch out for that that metheg on those O-class seglets. Finally, we get a 2ms on a plural. If you remember deciding on which proto we're going to use, the 2ms through, or sorry, 1cs through 1cp, which 2ms falls there, we're going to use the Devar pattern. So we bounce back here. We are dealing with an O class, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to use a seglet pattern. And we end up then with the box we're going to use in this case is going to be Echa. with a Segol. I had to check that. Segol versus a Serre. This is a heavy ending that pulls the accent down to... Actually, it doesn't. Look at that. So we have Echa. Very good. And keep the vowels the same. Don't forget your doggish Lenny. Step 3, run the rules of syllables. In this case, write all this out. I keep the accent here just to help me, but again, it won't be written in. We're going to end up with syllable divisions here. Open pretonic requires long, and open propretonic reduces to a vocal schwa. So we end up looking like this. Pe'alecha. And let me check that real quick. Pe'alecha. Yep, there it is. So that's the answer to that one. I hope that those are helpful. Again, let me know what questions you have.